Hi, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have an unboxing of the Galaxy M35 5G. Let's get started. This is a Samsung device aimed at the mid-range but with its highlight in the battery and of course its price, because remember that the Galaxy M are usually cheaper than the Galaxy A. The launch price of this device is $5,499. On the screen you see the reference price in dollars just to give you an idea, but remember that the prices here are not the same as over there. At least from Mexico, this price is considered quite competitive considering the specifications it has, but we will know more about it later. For now, the box anticipates that it will not have a charger, so let's take it out of the box. And we find ourselves directly with the cell phone that, as you can see, has a back cover design with a grid that is not so easily perceived, but with certain reflections it does become noticeable. So it's a nice minimalist design in the purest Samsung style. It has no camera module that comes to enclose each of these cameras that I will describe below. But let's turn this device on and see what else is included in the box. As you can see, there comes only the Samsung Care Plus promotion, where Samsung announces to you that special protection is available for your device, but there doesn't seem to be much else on this side of the box. So let's go to the other side of the box, where we do find a bit more content. And as you can see, in this small box comes the tool to remove the tray, and later on we are also going to find inside the cable that is from USB-C to USB-C, but it doesn't come with a charger. The last thing that will be included here will be the usual paper, so there is not much more content. This unboxing is very terse. So let me put this all back and I'll get back to you and take a look at the specs after I've set it up. And here I already have this device set up, so let's go over its specifications. It weighs 222 grams and it's 9.1 millimeters thick. So unlike the Galaxy 55, which was much lighter and thinner, in this case they're not betting on that. Instead, they're betting on a large battery, which we'll see in a moment. The screen is Super AMOLED with 6.6 inches in its diagonal. It has full HD plus resolution. And it offers a refresh rate of 120 Hz, so it's a very high-end display. For this price, I think it gets to compete with a very good quality, because there are other manufacturers that in this segment still integrate IPS screens. In addition, it also has stereo sound with a speaker on the bottom and another speaker that is in the earpiece area for calls. So not only does it have a very good display but also a very good sound. The front camera is 13 megapixels with f2.2 aperture and fixed focus. Here I have the preview before taking the picture, but obviously after taking the picture it comes with much better backlight processing. As you can see here, there was a very important overexposure, but after taking the picture, I think the result is more balanced. In the video review, we will make a more detailed analysis of the front camera, but for now, the first impression is that it is of good quality. And for the back, we will find the main camera of 50 megapixels with f1.8 aperture and optical stabilization, in addition to autofocus. Then the 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera with f2.2 aperture and fixed focus. And finally, the 2 megapixel macro camera with f2.4 aperture and fixed focus. Let's take a quick look at the examples. In this case, it's a photograph with the 50 megapixel mode, where it seems to me that it does get to take advantage of the full resolution of this sensor. So it's very good in that respect. This is the ultra-wide camera and then the main camera. Curiously, in this case, the main camera was set with an exaggeratedly cool tonality. The ultra-wide camera had a more realistic color rendition, but that can also vary depending on the environments. And in the video review, we will have a much more detailed analysis of the behavior of these cameras, but for now, the ultra-wide camera seems to me to have a good quality, unlike other ultra-wide cameras in this segment that are 5 megapixels. And with respect to the main camera, I also consider that it has a well-used sensor at the time of zooming. The maximum is 10x, and although it does not look exaggeratedly detailed, I think it has a good quality. The portrait photography also looks good enough. Notice that the subject is in focus, the entire background is out of focus, and the colors look accurate enough. In this sense, I think it will also be a device capable of holding its own well against its rivals in the same segment. And finally, this would be the result with the main camera applying 2x zoom in a macro mode. Note that it is a photograph with quite a lot of detail. In the case of the macro camera, it also gives us a good detail, but I consider that the main camera gives us even more detail. So I don't find the macro camera that useful or relevant, although for the price range we couldn't demand a zoom camera or anything like that either. But something very remarkable is that it can record video in 4K at 30 frames per second, both with the main camera and with the front camera. The battery, unlike the vast majority of devices today, is 6000 milliamps. This is its most remarkable point, and I think that in the price range comes to compete excellently. In the video review, we will test how long the battery can last to see if it is really taking advantage of those 6000 milliamps or not, but for now it looks like one of its most positive points. It also supports 25-watt charging, but the charger is not included in the box. And possibly if you combine this 25-watt charging with such a large battery, it will result in the charging time being a bit extended, but we'll check that out in the video review as well. It comes with Android 14 and One UI 6.1. Plus, Samsung promises you several years of updates. And remember that One UI is packed with lots and lots of features. In this case, for example, if you would count on Bixby routines to automate various things on your device, then it comes well endowed with a lot of software, and it has 128 gigabytes of storage, but just turned on it was showing us 17% storage in use. That's because the operating system comes with a lot of additional options. So yes, it is an important part of the storage already used, but if you get to take advantage of it using all the software features, it can be a very good thing. The version sold in Mexico has 6 gigabytes of RAM, although this could also vary in different countries. The ideal would be 8 gigabytes of RAM, as 6 is the minimum I ask for in Galaxy devices to have a good performance. If it had 4, it would be a disaster, but I think in this regard it's still okay. And it has RAM Plus where you can extend the RAM virtually, but personally I don't recommend it much. I don't think it works as it should. And finally, the processor is the Exynos 1380. If you are more of benchmarks, run Geekbench, and in multi-core gave 2950 points and in single-core 1014 points. These are really very powerful numbers for the price at which it competes. Then I consider that it can be one of its strengths, oddly enough. Although Exynos does not have a very good reputation, but in this price range, integrating this processor seems to me a good decision. Note, for example, that in Antutu reaches 610,672 points, so it can definitely get to have good power, although the RAM could play against it, but in the video review we will see the performance running various applications and testing several games. For now, this has been a small initial glimpse of the Galaxy M35. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know you can point it out, and we'll see you next time.